So today I want to talk about how making choices balances the genders within. I've talked a lot about the expressions of both the lower and higher octaves of male and female energy. And I do a lot of deep work with the people that I work with, and often they ask me, what can I do in my own time when I'm not working with you or anybody? Like, how can I exercise my free will to accomplish a balancing of these male and female energies? And what comes through me is always really, it's about making choices. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit. I'm going to refresh you and explain a little bit about how the unconscious female and male energies express. So the unconscious female, essentially, it likes to keep you stuck in the past, right? It's seductive. It can seduce you into nostalgia, into thinking about that person that hurt you a million times. It's the addiction to addiction. It's, oh, I'll start this, I'll start tomorrow. Like, I'll just stay in my old way, right? That's the unconscious feminine. It's like, right, if the higher octave of the feminine is the void space, right? Infinite potential, unconditional love, holding everything. The lower octave of the feminine is like kind of infinite void space of darkness, right? Infinite void space of being stuck in the past, being stuck in confusion, being stuck in sensations, right? Being stuck in, feeling lost, being stuck in depression, being stuck. Okay, that's essentially, to put it in a nutshell, how the unconscious feminine operates within us. And the unconscious male, right, is kind of ruthless. It's future oriented, right? It keeps us wanting to achieve and move forward, and it doesn't consider the whole, right? It doesn't consider the emotional system, the body, the family, the community, right? Joy and play is just a waste of time to the male that has tunnel vision and wants to move forward. And, if you break him from his focus, right, it's like he could be chaotic and explosive, or unkind, because, he's so addicted to that vision, or he's so addicted to the future or the achievement, that he doesn't consider the whole. And on the other side, the unconscious feminine, right, she's so lost in the past and in sensations of conditioning and our childhood traumas and our past life traumas and the collective energy of the world, even astrological energies, right? Being stuck in and floating in, right? It looks like this, right? Floating without the male energy that has direction, right? It's floating, it's stuck, it's disassociated. So how does making decisions heal the unconscious feminine? Well, a decision is healthy male energy. And really, it's really a blend of both, and I'm going to show you why. Let's say you find yourself very often stuck in emotions for like really prolonged periods of time. In science, they would call that a refractory period. Your refractory period could be anywhere from days to years. And if you are stuck in self-pity, in addiction, in confusion, in mind wandering, right, there's a lack of focus, a lack of direction, a lack of forward movement. So first, right, we want to bring in the higher octave of the female and love and accept that part of us that gets stuck, the part of us, the unconscious feminine part of us, right? We love and accept her because she's our teacher. But to help her out of that state, right, she needs the male. She needs a decision, right? Let's make a decision that today I'm going to embody myself. I'm going to get in my body and feel my emotions to the best of my ability, right? So that's both the male and the female. I'm going to make the decision and do so with love, and not in a strenuous way, not in a stressful way, but I'm going to combine decision and discipline with love. So I'm going to make a decision that I'm going to cut off from my experience, right, anything in my world that feeds my addiction. So for many people, that is tuning into online material that feeds your emotional addictions, whether it's jealousy, whether it's self-pity, whether it's anger, sadness, depression, right? Make a decision to cut off, right, to sever the cords of anything that you tune into. It could be movies, it could be music for many people. That's something that I noticed as I made these decisions in my life, that my choice in music drastically changed, because anything that had, a negative story about women, or anything that just didn't feel from the heart, I just kind of made a firm decision to tune out of it. And I'm not saying that all music that, I'm not trying to knock any genre of music or anything, but really tune into your experience and sincerely ask yourself, like, am I tuning into things that cause me to disassociate, to float away, to kind of, there's a difference between using your imagination to create, right? Receiving images. There's a difference between that, which is a combination of healthy female and male. The healthy female receives, the male, right, is creating. There's a difference between that and being sucked into, right, kind of a delusion, which is like the lower octave of Piscean energy. It's delusion. It's dreaminess that actually drowns, that drains your energy and drowns you. It could be thought of as drowning, right? If you personified it, it would be like you floating in a tank of water, like just floating there, like a body floating in a tank of water, just stuck in kind of a dreamy sensation. That's unconscious feminine. So when I make a choice to catch myself, right, first I make a decision to cut off all of the things that feed those low states of energy, right? Why do I want to do that? Because when I cut off the fuel, then what I'm left with is the feeling itself. So I can actually be present with something if I stop creating cords in the external world that feed that energy, right? So when you stop tuning into the online content that upsets you, when you stop watching movies that upset you or frighten you, when you stop listening to music that upsets you or frightens you or makes you disassociate and space out, when you cut all those things off, when you release the need to go into activity when you're feeling restless, right, and just be with the energy, what happens is that energy that's driving you to seek out things like itself, right, that energy will dissolve in the love of your presence, right? So we have the decision, right? We have the discipline, right, to love ourselves enough to stop prolonging these addictions, right? That's healthy male energy. Anytime someone has overcome an addiction, they came to a decision inside themselves, like, I am done with this. I am finished with this. This is not good for me. I want to see what's beyond this pattern, right? That's healthy male. So you cut off the things in the external world, you're deeply present with your emotions, and you make the experience of transmuting energy, right, a loving but almost devoted practice, right? If you're going to transmute the energy of restlessness, right, okay, stop. And it could feel like choking in the throat, fire in the chest. A lot of people don't realize that what feels like a physiological distortion, right, dizziness, the feeling of keeling over, the feeling of exhaustion, right? These are actually emotional states of being. The feeling of disassociating, right? These are all strategies, right, that we use to keep ourselves in low energy. So if I'm always panicked, for example, and I feel that distortion, right? Some people get lights, some people get different symptoms. If you get afraid of it, right? You're going to sink down into lower energy and you're never going to get through it. So even if you stop and are present with an emotion, if you can just feel that stability within you, which is healthy male, right? You feel your central channel and you anchor into the earth and your root chakra, and you be still in the storm, all those lights and flickering distortions will stop, because they must. Because in the intensity, in the light of your presence, right, all unconscious patterns must dissolve. So in order to release ourselves from addiction and from prolonged refractory periods and prolonged states of depression, we have to make decisions in our lives. We have to decide to stop naming anger as a negative emotion. Anger, the repression of anger, is one of the leading causes of depression. Why? Because we are conditioned religiously, even if we're not raised in a religious environment, we are conditioned to believe that fire is dangerous, when the reality is that fire is what changes. It's the element that transmutes and changes. And if you're a person who's fiery, right, maybe you're really passionate, maybe you get really angry at people, but you seem to fall back down into depression, what's happening is that you're repressing the anger, and so you are falling back into a lower state of energy because you are not accepting that state of fire, that state of rage. So let's say it's impatience. Let's say you're in a relationship where there's something that someone does. It's apparently something on the outside that's really angering you. So fire is one of the harder things to transmute because it can be so physiologically distorting, right? It can really heat you up. It can make your vision blurry. It can give you heart palpitations. These things are true. So in order to transmute fire, right, you have to make a decision, right? I am going to be with this. I am tired of acting out and being reactive or repressing and pushing myself down into lower energy. I want to see what is beyond this pattern. I want to see what is beyond this pattern. I want to see life beyond this pattern, right? It's a certain intensity of desire and decision within you that will cause you to actually stop all the distractions and actually sit with yourself, right? And when you sit with fire, it might be really uncomfortable and hot, but if you allow the flame to consume you completely, in a matter of seconds, minutes, and different patterns require different amounts of time, that energy will dissolve and it will repurpose itself into creative energy, into bandwidth that you can use intentionally. So when your mind is wandering, right, unconscious female, right, it's like you're not using your mind at all. A lot of people talk about occupying the body, which I talk about a lot, but let's talk about occupying the mind, thinking on purpose. The only thing that can operate within you, if you are not occupying the mind and the body, is conditioning, is trickster energy, is the looping of memory and every thought you've had with a strong emotional charge, right? For a lot of people, that's strong defensiveness, attack, the feeling of being attacked, the feeling of being victimized, the feeling of, if you feel invisible, then you're always defending yourself in your mind. If you don't trust yourself, you're always defending yourself in your mind. While it's useful to observe this, right? The observer is kind of like out here observing the loop of the mind. I would recommend that you actually occupy the mind and think on purpose. If you're going to go for a walk or a drive and you're going to use your mind, then think a thought that practice, right? Put on music and think a thought on purpose, right? Like a thought could be, I lovingly accept all of the beauty around me. I lovingly accept all of the beauty around me. I see all of the beauty around me. I see God in everything. I see God in everything, right? Why on earth would we spend hours wasting time and energy allowing the thoughts that were a product of the past to loop on repeat and create, because they do create, thought does create, why would you allow that to operate when you have another choice? And the choice is get into your mind. So when you see your mind wandering, occupy it. Like literally feel the energy of you occupying the mind. You don't have to think a thought, but just occupying the mind actually feels like being in the receiving mode, right? If I'm actually occupying myself and I don't feel like I'm back here observing my mind, but I'm occupying my mind, then I'm actually here, and it's what's creating my reality is the energy of me, of my presence, which that creates as well. Word does create, thought does create, but vibration creates as well. The song of our soul creates as well. Our essence creates, our essence attracts to ourselves that which is like our essence. And all of our essence, without exception, is a beautiful, magnificent, blissful being. And so it's all too often that people read about spiritual things. They read about the law of attraction. They read about, yogic practices, but do you do them? And this is not about just having an amazing meditation in the morning and then letting your mind wander for the rest of your entire day. It's actually more important that you skip meditation if it means that you have more energy to focus during your entire day, whether it's in appreciation, whether it's in silence and simply occupying the moment with your presence. It's more important that you put your energy, that you push your energy into reality than that you observe it looping in the past. Because if you're just observing, right, you don't have free will. You have to actually occupy your experience to exercise free will. And in order to be able to exercise free will, you have to make the decision to occupy your mind and body and chakra system so that you can transmute the energy that has been making decisions for you. If you have strong reactions, right, and that is causing a lot of chaos in your life, well, you better get in your body and transmute that energy so that you can stop creating chaos, right? And this requires a decision. So it's the same on the other side, right? If I'm ruthless and I'm in my unconscious male energy, not taking care of myself, pushing my energy, pushing my body around, being too serious, make a decision to stop and play. Make a decision. The throat chakra, make a decision to, even if you don't know how to play, even if you don't know how to be in your feminine energy, ask your higher self, please show me a way that I can go beyond this pattern and bring in some playful, healthy, loving, soft female energy into my life, right? Instead of being productive, right, just lay down and play music. Float in a body of water. Why? Because floating is the literal sensation of being held by the universe. It's just this buoyant, blissful feeling of being taken care of. Ask yourself questions, right? Activate the frontal lobe. What does it feel like, right? What does it feel like to be truly at peace? Make the decision to use what you have, your mind, your conscious faculties. Use your conscious mind to break patterns. So in unhealthy male energy, that can be also really overactive desire, right? People that tend to have a lot of heat in their system, they have a really active desire body. I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. So what's a decision that you could make? If that's you, what's a decision you could make? Well, I'm going to stop and appreciate what I do have, because this desire thing, I know where it leads, right? The desire is the energy that creates, right? And our heart's desires are flowing through us. But what I'm talking about is the endless need for more. And that's a stressful feeling. If you're in that energy, right, you are more so in that unconscious male energy. So what could you do? Bring in the healthy female, expand your energy out instead of being directed and siphoned in a straight line for more, future. Open your energy and appreciate what you have. Appreciate the human beings in your life. Who is in your life, right? Yourself included, that you just don't appreciate. This might be a little bit dramatic for some people, but death has always been my counselor, and I always ask myself, if certain people in my life passed away today, like what would I have regretted not conveying to them, communicating with them? How can I convey my love? How can I give as much as I receive? How can I receive as much as I give? But really, right, if you are in your desire body, right, and always thinking about the next thing or the next class you want to take or the next event or the next achievement or the next, financial milestone, right, over time, this starts to feel like almost like adrenal fatigue, right? So that's your sign that you need healthy female. So you make a decision. I am going to stop every single day and appreciate my life. I'm going to take it in, right? Like the female, I'm going to receive it from all around me, the sunshine, the nature in where I live, the home where I live, the things that I love, right? Even the senses, right? I love oils and smells, and I really kind of revel in the smell of frankincense and rose oil and the feeling of sunshine, and I don't know, just all of the trees in my neighborhood. Like, this is a way for me to get in my healthy feminine energy and to cool off that desire body. So decisions balance the genders, right? It's a decision. All it ever takes to get yourself out of a pattern is a decision. The desire to overcome something must be greater than the payoff you get from being stuck where you are, right? So how do you come to that place? You realize that you do have the choice. You do not have to stay in a pattern or in an addiction or in anything. You don't have to stay stuck in either the unconscious female or the unconscious male. You do have to learn how to modulate your energy and feel your emotions in order to transmute the energy, in order to have more free will. And hopefully I have explained that to a pretty solid extent, and there's lots of material about that. A really good resource for that is Letting Go: The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David Hawkins. It's a very scientific explanation of something quite simple, but it's really helpful for a lot of people. So I hope this helps, and I hope you have a beautiful day.